folks, Keith Hershey here. In this video I'm going to show you briefly how the Par5e system works for Fantasy Grounds. So if you want to take, for instance, the basic rules and you want to parse it into a readable format for Fantasy Grounds, I've been working with it, still building on it, but I'm going to show you an example of how it works and how to get it going, and some of the pitfalls I found and how to overcome it. First off, you're going to want to go to the Fantasy Grounds forums, and then scroll down to the 5e area. So we're going to go in there, and then it's the sticky one right here, Project Par5e. And what this program does is it'll take a PDF. Well, it doesn't take a PDF. You take your information from a PDF, let's say the basic. You're going to have to copy like what you want and put it in a text format. That's what I did, like Notepad. Anyhow, I'm getting a little hit of myself. So, alright, so we're on the Project Par5e. So once you're here, you're going to click on this link, and it's going to go to Dr. Zeus's website where you can download this program. Yeah, you'll have to register to get in here. So let me get in here so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so once we're in here, you're going to go down to Par5e. You're going to choose what operating system you're using. In this instance, I'm using Windows. So you're going to download that. It's going to be in a zip file, so you'll need to extract that. Okay. So, all right. So we've gotten that far. Okay. So when you open up Par5e, you're going to see it's got a documents folder, an archive database, and then the actual executable program right here, Par5e. There are some documents, and it will show you how to mark up the areas that you're going to take. So you're going to open up like D&D 5e right here, which I have. Let's see right here. Okay, so he breaks it down into each category. Like for instance, backgrounds. That's what I'm currently working on right now. And after a few roadblocks, I finally got through it. It's a little intimidating when you see, you know, oh man, you gotta do this and this. And finally, I came down here and he has an example, the Acolyte. And this is where I started off, just to make sure it all worked. I didn't go and do the whole PDF. I'm just starting small, and I'm slowly building from there, so I make sure I understand how the program works. So for instance, you take the Acolyte. So I basically took the Acolyte from the basic PDF rules, which you can get for free from the Wizard's website. So here's the PDF. Let's see here, backgrounds, okay. And you can see the Acolyte right here. So you're going to copy and paste all this, and I'm using just regular Notepad. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can use. Obviously you're going to want to use the print-friendly version of your basic rules when you do this. If not, you're going to get a bunch of characters in there that you don't want. So you're going to copy and paste all this into Notepad, and then let's see here, bear with me here. Okay, let me open it up so you can kind of see. Alright, so here's where I took it. I copied it, and you're going to want it to make it look, you're going to need to put in that first symbol there, the pound semicolon, right before each background. It's important. That basically lets the program know this is a new background. Okay, so it's going to go through and it's going to look for keywords to populate the fields and whatnot. So you're going to go through, and generally what you want to do is you want to go ahead and take out all the spacings and whatnot. So like equipment, I have all on one line here. It goes all the way across here. I took out the word wrap so it doesn't wrap around, so I can make sure it all fits in there. Otherwise, it'll only read like a holy gift, holy symbol, a gift to you, and then the rest of this just kind of disappears. So you want to break up the line breaks that it has in the PDF. It is a little bit of work, but in the long run, it's really cool, and I'll show you how that works here in a little bit. So anyhow, you'll go through there, and then down here on the tables, I put a space here just so it's better for me. It kind of, the program, from what I understand, it ignores spaces, but it's easier when you're looking at it to make sure it's all set in there right. And when you copy and paste, sometimes, like if you do your own scans using OCR, sometimes it'll misspell or it'll put spaces. Like for instance, for me, when I was scanning in part of my PHB to work on this, it was putting a space between of, so it'd be O space F for of, so I'd have to go in and just yank that out. But overall, it worked really good. So I did that, okay, and then yeah, you can see down here I started on another one. Alright, so that's what I would do. Just start with that for now, okay? So you're going to get all that put in there on the text, okay? Once you have, all this straightened out, all this text, take out the line breaks for each of these tables. Make sure it's all on one line there for each thing on the table. Once you're done with that, you're going to want to make a folder inside your Fantasy Grounds directory under the modules. Let's see here. So if you go into your hard drive users, Keith, or whatever your name is, app data, roaming, Fantasy Grounds, then open up modules. Inside here, you're going to right click, going to go to new folder, and you're going to name it input, okay? And then the notepad that you made for the background, you're going to want to save it inside input here, okay? So it'll be in this whole directory here, input, and you're going to name it backgrounds.txt, and it is case sensitive, so make sure it is all lowercase and it's spelled exactly just like that, backgrounds.txt. Okay. Alright, the next step, we're going to actually fire up the program, Par5e, right here. So you're going to fire that up. Takes a couple seconds. Alright, we're going to go ahead and maximize this. Move this out of the way. Alright, for module name, you can name this whatever you want. This is what it's going to show up in the library under Fantasy Grounds. So, for instance, I just named this Backgrounds. Category, I chose to make it PHB Backgrounds. And then the module ID, I'm just naming Backgrounds again. Oops. Sure, get this right. Okay. The module type here, this is going to depend on who you want to see it. If this is like, if it's just a bestiary, then I would do GM only. But backgrounds, your players are going to want to need to see this when they're creating characters. So for this instance, I'm going to make it GM/player. The rule set, you need to make sure if this is for 5e, you change it to 5e, because different rule sets kind of behave a little differently. Okay, now on to the next part here, path information, your module source path. So this is the directory where your modules for Fantasy Grounds are stored. So you're going to click the little folder icon, and it's going to ask you to direct it. So you're going to need to go in, and it's under going to be C users Keith, or whatever the name of your computer profile is, app data, roaming, Fantasy Grounds, modules. Okay, then hit open. Okay, so it's got that. On the temp path, it's going to be the same thing. Is going to be the modules, because we put our input folder inside modules, so this will work. So when you click that again, after you do that, it usually has the same directory, so just make sure it is and hit open. And then output folder, you're going to want this to actually make, when it makes the actual module, you want it to go in the module folder. So once again, click the folder icon. It should automatically default once you start at the other two to the same directory. So make sure it's the modules folder. Hit open. Okay. Thumbnail path. This is a picture you want it to look like. Okay. So for instance, I have some stuff over in pictures. So we'll make it look like a Gothic on this one. But you could change. You can make whatever pictures you want on that. Okay. Now you need to select all the different options it's going to pull from. So that way, when the parser is going down your text, it knows what to look for. Okay. So for instance, we're only doing backgrounds with this. So for backgrounds, we'll check the box there. And then since the backgrounds has tables in it, like the flaws, bonds, and stuff, you need to go down to tables. Even though you don't have a tables.txt on the input, you're going to check that as well. So you're going to make sure those two are checked for this instance. Now if you went through and you did all the class encounters and all that, you're going to want to check accordingly. But right now we're just doing backgrounds and tables. This is just kind of a little intro. Okay, once we got that done, we are ready to parse. Okay, so for this, I'm going to actually change it to backgrounds 1, backgrounds 1, 1. I'll just put a little 1 behind it all, so that way when I open it up, you can see how it did work. Okay, so from here, we're going to hit parse, and it's going to go through, and it's going to have a whole bunch of stuff here. Basically, as long as this all comes back blue here, we should be good. You'll notice, like here on the tables for the parse, there was an invalid path. That's because you didn't actually have a text, a separate notepad for tables. But that's alright, it's going to work. Trust me. Okay, so once we get down to build module completed, it should be good to go. Okay, so we're going to quit out of there. And we're going to, oops, let me exit out and we'll fire it back up. So we're going to fire up Fantasy Grounds here. So definitely when you are creating new modules, you want to reload Fantasy Grounds to make sure it can grab it. Okay, so we're in here. Now we're going to go over here to Library, because this is where they're going to show up if it worked. So we look under here. You're going to look under modules, the little button here. This is the one I did before. See, the one we just did should come up as backgrounds 1. So we're going to hit modules 1. And see, look, it's got the picture of the Gothic, backgrounds 1. Now we're going to open that book, so that way it'll open up in the library. And the symbols here, you could hit the X where players can't see it, only the GM. You could do the green check mark to allow the players to load it once they connect, and then the lightning bolt, it forces this module to load to all the players as they connect, as I've explained in other videos. Okay, so we got that, so now we're going to close that, and then we're back here to the library, and see, backgrounds 1, so we're going to click on that, and you'll see it's got two different headings here. You got your tables, so it's going to have all the tables, and the one I had all the Acolyte tables and the Charlatan ones. So those are there, so you can open it up and you can see. So see how it made the table there? You can roll it, and okay, there's the bond. Cool. Also, just so you know, we'll come back to this in a minute. If you go up to tables over here, it'll show up here as well under backgrounds 1, all the different tables. Pretty nifty, huh? Okay. Next, we'll go under backgrounds, and it kind of separates it according to alphabetical. Alright, so let's look at the Acolyte. And you're going to want to go through here after you do this just to make sure it came out okay and there's no misspellings. So you can read through here and see that. Okay. Down here to proficiencies, you get insight, religion, languages, all your equipment, features. If you click on the features here, it'll open up and gives you the text for that. Okay, so that worked. And then down here under suggested characteristics, it's got the different tables. So there's several different ways to get to the tables through here as you're rolling up the character, or you can go through the tables in the library, or you can go through the tables button up there. And anyhow, that's just a quick run through on how this Par5e system works. I'm going to keep working on it and keep expanding it. It's going to take a little while, but currently working on it. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully this answered your questions on how to get this program to work. And happy gaming. Hope to see you guys here soon. Take care.